record the meeting, so that's good. So I've just pressed record, so we recorded the meeting. Great. This will be recorded and uploaded onto the website, so please keep yourself on mute for the duration of the presentation. Any questions, please enter them into the chat function, into the chat box, and we will pick up at the end during our Q&A session. So on the call tonight, we've got Richard Bennett, the Squash Wales chair. We've got Phil Brayley, the liaison director, myself, Roy Gingell, who's the operations manager. We've got David Evans, the performance director, and we've got Sarah Jones, who's the regional development officer south, and Phil Barker, the regional development officer from the north. Our agenda is as listed there. We're basically going to give you an update on the return to play. We're going to mention the club support that's available. I'm going to touch upon the membership. Also giving you an update on where we are with our competition and league process. Chat about the next steps as we move forward during the next couple of months, and then take the question and answer session. So I will now pass you on to David Evans, who's going to run through the next couple of slides in relation to the latest return to play information. Over to you, Dave.
Thanks, Roy. I know many of you were on the call, the last club forum, and since then we had the good news of being able to play the modified game of squash. Wales has now moved to alert level 2, which in a grand scheme of things, it's not a huge amount of change at the moment in terms of us playing squash, but it's more for the numbers indoors that you can have. Previously there was 15 in an organized activity. Now that's been moved up to 30. So what this means really is that we can look to get more people inside, albeit in a safe manner. If you could move on to the next one, right, please.
Just bear with me.
I think you have to.
We, as explained in the previous forum, we still have representatives on the working parties, the elite players, which I sort of sit on. We have the indoor sort of sports, which Phil Brayley sits on, and the facilities for all the operators, etc. Richard Bennett and Roy sit on that. So we're very well represented on all sort of areas in making sure that we put in squash forward to be able to return to play properly as soon as we can and as safe. As you all are aware, we're able to play the modified game of squash, which was excellent news to be able to play sort of a low, not a normal game, sort of as near as it can be in a safe environment to get the clubs back up and running. Everybody should have been sent and received the up-to-date protocols, the risk assessments, along with the posters that you can display in the club to ensure everyone is safe there. And obviously the updated guidance is on the Squash Wales website. One thing I want to mention, I know a few questions came before about the shower facilities, etc., where it was when we were in alert level 3, it was no shower facilities were allowed to be open at all. Since now moving into alert level 2, there is a possibility that shower facilities can open, but obviously they must meet the strict guidelines and the protocols with the cleaning, etc., which is in the latest guidance with the link shown below there. So please check that, read through that to make sure that you're adhering to all the sort of the measurements that is needed to be able to open the showers, and then you can decide whether with your risk assessments whether that is applicable in your club or your facility to be able to do that safely. If you could go on to the next one, please, Roy. As I touched on earlier, there's not a huge amount of change to us as Squash Wales, because we were obviously very fortunate that we could play the modified game of squash from the 3rd of May. But what it means going to alert level 2 is that obviously the numbers increase indoors. Squash Wales, now we're looking at organising and running sanctioned pilot events. Obviously, these are not going to be sort of your tournaments as we knew it before, with, you know, sort of 80, 90 people, but we can run these events with our measures, now protocols, in a safe manner, but to get competition back up and running. Also, we're looking at a lot of scenario plans in being able to start the leagues up, albeit might be sort of trial leagues in the summer, just to get people comfortable going into other clubs in a safe environment. So the biggest difference here is that we're now able to look at running sanctioned events. As far as what everyone can do in the squash club is the same as what we were on the 3rd of May. No different there. And another area what we're looking at the moment, and obviously we need to be careful, we don't want to be running before we can walk, is looking at whether we can sort of implement any doubles play, or find out at least when that will be possible, to allow our members to play doubles on the court. At the moment, that's obviously not a possibility, but we are looking into that with our sanctioned events moving forward. If you go on the next one, right? That's your thanks, right?
Okay, Dave, thanks for that update.
Sorry to say, right, if there's any questions regarding that, like you said, please put them in the chat box, or, you know, or we can go through them at the end.
Yeah, so thanks for that, Dave. So I'm just going to touch upon a few other slides, now specific slides. So the area of club support, there's lots of support available. So please do not feel you are on your own. The Sport Wales Be Active Fund is a massive area where our clubs can tap into. It's available to support all clubs with every governing body, whether it's an outreach and schools program, whether it's coaching courses, whether it's qualification and upskilling and training your volunteers and your workforce within your club. This is the main area of funding that Sport Wales is looking at. Please link in with our RDOs, Sarah and Phil, based in the south and in the north, for support, and really important, in completing the application forms. We are here to help, because the application forms in this area, right, ask for specific criteria. We can help you in filling in these funds to enable you to get back up and running. Also, as we come out of these restrictions, and obviously, like Dave said, subject to the guidance for indoor settings improving, right? Squash Wales are offering things like exhibition evenings, racquetball evening, coaching and mentoring evening, right? At no cost to your clubs, right? So please get in contact. And when the guidance allows us to, we want to support your club to put on these specific evenings, right? All linked to the guidance. In relation to the membership and benefit package is ongoing and being developed in the background. A fully comprehensive update will be given in the June forum, where we will spell out the benefits linked to the membership package. Already, and it was brought up during the April forum, we can now confirm that this actually will include a Squash TV discount of 33%, which actually in today's money amounts to £30. We have added that to the list of benefits post the April forum. So as you can understand, we are working closely with our partners to finalize that package, right? Again, the membership FAQ section is on our website. We're updating those questions on a weekly basis also. So like I said, this will be clearly, more detail will be given during the June club forum. In relation to the league and competition, and I know Dave has touched upon it, scenario planning is ongoing behind the scenes, all subject to, again, this guidance for indoor settings. Like we said, as you can imagine, this is a fluid and ever-changing situation. We are looking to run our leagues. We are looking to run a full competition calendar during the forthcoming season. Tonight, our player pathway has restarted, and we will be looking to be doing pilot events from year on in, obviously subject to this guidance for indoor settings. In relation to the league, and specifically to the league, a couple of points I want to bring up here. And all Wales Squash Wales League rules, we are going to set up a working party. Are any of you interested? This working party will be headed by Phil Brayley, who's the liaison director from our board, to set up all Wales rules. If you are interested, please email myself or info@squashwales.com after this meeting or during the next coming weeks. We are also looking, like I said previously, to with Mike Howe's retirement, to replace him. If anyone is interested in there, on our journey over the next couple of months, we will have added information. But if anyone is interested in taking over from Mike Howe, who has recently retired, we will be interested there. If so, please get in touch with us on that issue. So that's basically the brief update that we've got this evening for you. Over the next couple of months, due to the unlocking of the sector, right, the Squash Wales staff are now able to meet you guys face to face, right? So please get in contact with us if you have any issues, if you require Phil and Sarah to visit your clubs on any sort of projects, any issues that you need support on, we are here to help. The marketing campaign is going on in the background, linked to our membership. I'll have a greater detail in next month's forum. The next meeting is penciled in for the 22nd of June at 6:30 p.m. So with that, that's the latest update. This will be posted on the website and be available after tomorrow. Any questions we've got now, we'll take in the question and answer session, of which Phil will be the moderator. So Phil, it's over to you for any sort of questions we've got, and I will now stop sharing my screen.
Thanks, Roy. So Q&A session now. If you've got anything you'd like us to pick up, we're recording this, so we'll make sure we capture not only the question and the answer. We'll aim to give you an answer now. Anything we can't answer immediately, we'll take away, and we will come back to you with an answer, and that will be recorded on the website as well. So open it up to the floor. If anybody's got any questions.
Could I start?
Yeah, please, Jim.
I know Dave has already gone over this, but I'm still, in my own mind, I'm still very uncertain, given the nature of our club, the situation regarding the use of showers. It is a tricky one, particularly in a club where we don't have people to come in and clean after everybody's used it. It's a situation which the members are increasingly asking questions about, and I'm just wondering if we can be a little bit more certain about what we're supposed to be doing.
Dave, do you want to pick that up?
Hi, Jim. Jim, I can send you the latest guidance on what they say about the shower facilities. You know, there are lots of different caveats to it. Like it does say on there, they don't recommend if there's communal showers to open. That's one thing. So, you know, there's lots of do's and don'ts, but the main thing is like the cleaning procedure. You know, it has to be very stringent, and you know, unfortunately, lots of clubs, they haven't got that level of staff to be able to do that. So, you know, on that case, you know, it's not wise to open the showers. But I'll send you the link when we come off here, so you can read through exactly what it says regarding the opening or the recommendation of opening showers.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Dave. Thank you. Can we not trust our members to clean up after themselves as we're doing currently? When they come off court, they're expected to clean all of the touch points and then vacate the building as quickly as they can. And whether they're all doing that or not, I just don't know. But I mean,
I think that was raised as a question on one of the meetings that I was on. And I think the response was, yes, to a degree you can trust members, but you have to verify that it's been done. So it's a bit like trust but verify was the response. Because as with all these things, how do you know that's happening? There's and the club that I belong to, we have cubicles, so you could sort of split them up. But then when you have several people in the changing rooms, how do you ensure there's social distancing? And what if several come together from some of the dry and wet facilities all at the same time? Then you don't have social distancing. So it's providing you can manage it effectively with a detailed risk assessment in place that's adhered to, then it's okay. But a lot of company organizations are not opening up showers for that reason. Nick, did you have your hand up? Do you want to come off mute?
Yes, I did. Thank you, Phil. It's just to pick up on that point that Jim just made. Actually, I think we do need to trust members to behave accordingly. But we envisage there being almost like, let's say, a COVID officer in place overseeing both the clubs that are playing to ensure that both are complying.
It doesn't work when you're in a club which is not manned.
Okay, fair enough. Is it possible for one of the players to be a nominated COVID officer then?
Well, we've already got a nominated officer, and that's me. But I can't be there for the duration of the day that people are playing.
No, guys, I was thinking more about when we go onto league games. If you've got two clubs in one venue, someone's going to presumably have to oversee that. And the COVID officer would seem to be the most logical person. But
I think you still then face the problem with an increased number of people. If you've got two teams playing, you're going to increase the difficulty of the situation almost.
You know, I think Jim, on that core, you know, I think leagues, you know, we're talking 4 or 5 months down the road here. You know, so that will sort itself out with the easing of the guidance or easing of the restrictions.
Yeah, I was just responding to the point that was made.
Yeah. You know, in your case, Jim, I think, you know, it boils down to your club. Are you comfortable to have a robust risk assessment in place that you can adhere to those guidance notes that are set out? You know, if you're not comfortable, then, you know, you do not open the showers. You know, that's the problem. You know, it's a tough call. I know. I fully appreciate that. But if you can't administer that risk assessment, then you know you a club are responsible, so to speak. As with, you know, obviously all these other governing bodies, all these other sports, and that's the recommendation that people do. So not every club is opening up with the showers. It's where they can demonstrate a robust risk assessment, you know, and local authority leisure centres, they've got one way in, one way out, you know, they've got the cleaning, you know, they can adhere to the cleaning protocols. So, you know, but for a private, like you said, a standalone club, it really is tough at this alert level to, you know, situation.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate everything that's been said, but I mean, if you like, we have the same sort of concerns, if you like, about people being in there during the day on their own playing. We don't know that they're adhering to all of the guidance. You know, the rules and the protocols are all up posted around the club, as you know. But at the end of the day, we can't guarantee, which is what you've just asked us to do for the showers.
It's the risk, you know, that's where risk assessments, you put as much mitigating risks as reasonable, you know, that you put in place. And as long as you are comfortable, as long as we are comfortable, so to speak,
Yeah,
that's what happens with any form of risk, to be honest.
yeah. Okay, thanks.
Okay.
I've just emailed you that now, Jim, as well.
Yeah, I've got it. Thank you.
Okay, no problems.
Look, we'll signpost everyone to that on the FAQs. We'll put a link to that document that Dave has just sent around, so everybody's got access to that.
Yeah, that link is on the presentation, to be honest. That same link is there on
Okay.
that slide.
Good. Okay, are there any other questions? Pat?
It's just a quick clarification, actually. On the coaching side, where we've said it's 4 on the court, is that 3 plus coach or coach plus 4?
3 plus coach.
Thank you. Perfect. Job done.
That was a nice, quick and easy one. Look, I think the important thing about this session as well is myself, Roy, Dave, and Richard are on these groups, and we were on a call today, and there are so many questions that are being asked about the minister that's on the call. Some of we've had legal calls as well, so there have been a barrage of questions that have been, you know, delivered to the ministers for them to respond to, and even they don't get everyone right or are prepared to respond. What they are saying is that you will not get sign-off for what you're doing from anyone. It's a case of, here are the guidelines, you put the risk assessment together that addresses those guidelines, and if you've done everything in your power to ensure that all those guidelines and protocols are in place, then you're in a pretty good place on anything. So don't look for somebody to say, yes, we're going to sign off what you're doing, because there is no one body that will do that. Anybody else going to? Peter?
Right. Sorry I'm late joining. I forgot all about it. As you can see, I've just got out of the shower. Now, what's we've actually started playing yesterday. Let me one quick question, because I missed the presentation. What we intend, I'll tell you what we're intending to do. We're still not going to open as a club, because the leisure set, and it's really all to do with the risk assessment bit you've been talking about. But obviously individuals are going to play. What we might well do outside of the club, we're setting up a squash ladder so that people can play each other. Is that allowed within the rules? I mean, are we still limited by the bubbles and all that stuff?
You can play anybody providing you stick to the rules of the modified game.
Yeah, exactly. We understand that. That's good. That's the way back for us at the moment, simply because the leisure centres, I mean, they haven't opened the showers, the leisure centre. They are open now. They opened up on the 10th, and now the new things came in yesterday. A couple of us have already started playing, which is good news. But we're not going to open as a club. We'll go as individuals, but we can operate a ladder outside of the club, which effectively starts a little bit of competition, which I think is what some people will go for, which will just get our toe in the water. And somebody asked the question, is that allowed according to the bubble? And thank you for confirming it, Phil. By the sounds of it, we can, which case I'll send out an email tomorrow saying, guys, we can do this.
Yeah,
Thanks for that.
no problem. Good. Any other questions? Is there anything else you'd like us to consider? Nick, go ahead.
Thank you. It's just to pick on the point Peter's just made of this ladder. I think this is a great idea because presumably we're going to have people ranked as we did before we start competitive competitions in September, October time. Is that right? We are going to have to rank people?
Yeah, you'll have to submit a club ranking list, and particularly for your teams as well.
Okay, and to follow on from that then, presumably people have had to have paid their £10 affiliation fee to be ranked within a club, do they?
Not necessarily, but to play in the Squash Wales leagues, you will have to be a Squash Wales member.
Okay, so just to clarify, I could be a member of Monmouth Squash Club and be ranked, not being affiliated to Squash Wales at this stage, which means I couldn't be picked for their B teams.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
there will be a degree of flexibility in that if you pull somebody in, so supposing you don't have somebody ranked in the club, but you want to pull them into play because you're short. At the moment, and Roy will correct me if I'm wrong on this, but we're looking at allowing somebody up to a maximum of 3 times to come in as a reserve, and on the third occasion they would need to become what would be a league member effectively of Squash Wales.
Okay, but they would need to be ranked within the club, obviously, so they play in the right position.
Exactly.
Okay, thank you for that. Thanks.
Yeah, I think, Nick, that information, as we go through the journey, come a little bit more apparent next month, and then through July and August, the league, all the various league scenarios, play-in, ranking, how much do we play, the amount of times, that will become evident with this panel, so to speak, during the months of July and August, when we get closer to the point that we will be allowed to play a form of a league sort of scenario.
Okay, that's great. Thanks for that.
Due to the guidance. At this stage, we're probably concentrating on more getting people back on court, to be honest. It's as simple as that. People playing squash, courts opening up, and get people just playing squash. The league scenario is more September, October, if the guidance allows us.
Okay, thanks.
Peter?
I'm sorry, you may have to repeat yourself here because I wasn't here for the first 15 minutes, but I gather what you're really saying, which makes sense, is that nothing really is going to change. I mean, going to come into place in August, September. Frankly, from Abergavenny's point of view, that's when I'm going to start realizing how many people actually want to join the leagues and join, because I've got no idea at this precise moment in time, as I suspect so many other people as well, exactly how many people are going to come back. I'm hoping it's going to be quite a lot. But, you know, you've got to worry a little bit about it. I mean, presumably, as we monitor it, as we go through, it looks like the leagues could start in September. The showers could come back on. Presumably, that must be part of it. If you don't have the showers, you're not going to have league matches, things like that. All this stuff will come into play. And, you know, we're going to have our AGM in August to really size up whether we open the club at that point, because it's all dependent upon the leagues. Am I saying anything which hasn't been said before? Is that your understanding? I mean, is that really what we're saying? That it's going to happen then? That's the critical point.
Yeah, Pete, we're on a journey here with the guidance. You know, it's 30 people now. You know, there's the food scenario, there's the play-in. Currently, there's social distancing involved. So as the country and the sector unlocks, and as the government allow indoor sport to actually be more active. The social distancing issues are sorted, the shower issues, then hopefully one of the scenarios that we are working on is that the leagues could start in some form in September. But you know, it's a long way, and we're on small steps. At the moment, we've only just opened the courts 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So we've got to start by obviously getting people back in a safe manner under the modified game, under these conditions during May, hopefully during June, and then the country within the sports sector will unlock even more, and we will be allowed to do things as directed by the Welsh Government, the settings for indoor sport, and we see how that evolves, you know, and hopefully in September, October, we'll have a league competition, and we will have our calendar in some form of event. And again, the competition from a domestic event might well mean that we have restricted entries, that we run an event over 2 weekends, over 3 weekends, over 1 day, over 2 days, all subject to the Welsh Government indoor setting guidance.
Okay, yeah, I'm not aware. I'll read your notes at the end of all this. You've obviously talking about some sort of competition, which I'm afraid I missed at the very start of this. That sounds good. As I said, the reason why we're doing the squash ladder is I'm trying to find out how many people are going to come back now, and that will give me a reasonable idea of how many people we'll have going forward. I mean, it's as simple as that, really. It's trying to find a mechanism which just gives me an idea of how many people intend to come back or not, as the case may be.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, exactly that.
Okay, thanks, Peter. Any more questions? So a question, is there anything anybody would like to have discussed on any of the future webinars? So our next webinar is going to be in June. Is there anything that you would like to see on that agenda and brought up and discussed that hasn't been thus far? And again, if you can't think of anything now, maybe you can speak to some of your friends and other members of your club to see if they've got anything that they would like to have explained further or expanded on anything that we're doing. We will be bringing all the things that we've discussed on these 2 webinars so far and building out more information on that. I will.
Yeah, just a quick question, or maybe a suggestion. We've got different scenarios all over the place. We've got the leisure centre set up where you're totally dependent on what the provider is doing, and you've got your individual clubs like Abergavenny and Wrexham and so on. I just wonder, in the next forum, would it be useful to have, say, 1 or 2 of the leisure centre clubs just share, just for 5 minutes, what they're doing and how they're coping, and similarly with the completely separate clubs, so that we can get some sort of sharing of ideas about what can work and what can't. I don't know, that may be an idea for June.
Yeah, we can do that. Roy, Dave?
If I may, I think that is a good idea, which I was going to suggest myself. I know we have Phil up here in North now, and we can work through him, but I think it is an opportunity, this as a club forum, to genuinely share best practice.
Good idea.
Excellent.
We'll do that. Okay. Any other, Peter?
Just to endorse that, because it's clear there is a great difference between private clubs and the leisure centre clubs. And I think it's a completely different set of circumstances, in my opinion. And that I'm quite happy to share what Abergavenny is doing with all the other leisure centre clubs and explain why we have taken the decisions that we have done, which I think makes sense given the situation we find ourselves. Completely different to the private clubs.
Yeah,
So I endorse
no,
it.
agreed. Pat, I think you wanted to make a point? No, okay. Anybody else? Any other questions? Any other points? No. Looks like we're all done. That's fine. Okay, if there's nothing else, hand back to you to wrap the meeting up, Roy.
Yeah, thanks for that for everyone. Thanks for your comments. Like we said, I've recorded the meeting. I'll post the meeting. We've captured any questions coming out of the meeting, post them on the FAQ and the membership and the COVID sections. The next meeting is due on Tuesday, the 22nd, 6:30 p.m, where, you know, we'll take on board the shared experiences for sure. And I'll give an in-depth update on our membership and benefit package and where we are with our marketing company as well in relation to the retention and the attraction of new and old members. So, okay, nothing else from me. Many thanks for attending the meeting. Hope you found it very informative. Any feedback, any questions, info@squashwales.com, or give us a ring directly. The development officers and the rest of the staff, where social distancing allows, will be out and about speaking to every club in the region. Many thanks. Keep safe, everyone, and we'll have a catch up again next month. Okay, thanks everyone.
Thanks all. Enjoy your evening.
Thank you.
Yes.